This is Super Yacht News with Sisman. Hi, welcome back to the channel. Very hot day today where I am. I got slightly sunburnt. Make sure you wear your factor 50, people, which I didn't, clearly. You can even see here. Yeah. Okay, so we've got a few interesting stories today. I've got a 25-meter yacht sinking in Greece. I've got a Russian-owned super yacht, has a name change and is back in Europe. And also, big news on the development for internet at sea with Elon Musk and the Starlink system. So let's get on with it. So the first story, 25-meter yacht, believed to be a Ferretti yacht, sank in Greece. Now, the Greek Search and Rescue got a distress call on Friday, and it was the vessel was taken on water after running aground. So the vessel hit some rocks or hit something submerged, put a hole in the hull, and the vessel took on water. Now there were 3 people on board, as you can see in this video here. This is from Instagram. There were 3 people on board. The vessel was listing over to port as it took on water. Search and Rescue rescued those people, and they reported that all of them were in good health with no injuries. Now the vessel looks like it. In the later video, you can see that it's almost completely submerged there. I have no idea how deep the water is in this location, but it's possible, if that's as far as it sank, it's very possible that then they can recover that vessel, right? But if it's very deep, then a salvage operation is probably unlikely, because of the expense to salvage a vessel usually is more expensive than the value of that vessel. So yeah, anyway, that's all we know right now. If you've got any more information on this story, please get in touch. If you were on board that vessel, please get in touch. It'd be very interesting to talk to you. All right, on to the next story now. Now, this is an interesting one. This is a bit of a mystery. So in the early days of the outbreak of war in Ukraine, the invasion of Ukraine, should I say, this super yacht, motor yacht Polaris, was docked in Malta. It's a 70-meter yacht, or 230 foot. It's an explorer yacht. Usually means it's got an ice class hull. Brand new vessel. I think 2020 it was delivered. On a Maltese flag, and the owner is a chap called Maxim Shubarev, and he's the chairman of the Settle Group, S-E-T-L Group, and that's one of Russia's largest financial associations. And it should be noted that Mr. Shubarev and that company are not currently on any sanctions list that I could find, but at the outbreak of that war, there was a lot of talk in the Maltese press about this vessel being in Malta, and the fact that, you know, it was in Malta, although the European Union was putting sanctions on a lot of people and recommending not to give fuel to vessels, Russian vessels, etc. And the Maltese press seemed to take exception to the fact that this vessel was still in the port. Now, after a few days, the vessel left, Polaris left Malta, even though it has a Maltese flag, and Maxim Shubarev, the owner, has a Maltese passport. Now, one of the stories in the Maltese newspaper was that it said that he purchased a Maltese passport or Maltese citizenship in 2018. Now, the vessel, as I said, was flying a Maltese flag, left Malta and headed to, you guessed it, Turkey. And it was in Turkey for some time. Now, it was in this port in Turkey. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, but I'll put it on the screen. F-E-T-H-I-Y-E. That was the last port in Turkey it was in. What's interesting about this is that, as I said, the vessel was called Polaris, and it was on the Maltese flag. Now, in the last week or so, the vessel's actually changed names, and it's now called motor yacht Polestar. Now, what's even more interesting about it is the vessel has just come back into Europe and has gone to Viareggio in Italy, which is where it was built. Rossi Navi built this vessel at the Viareggio location, I believe. and it's just gone back there. What's interesting about this story is, like I said, Russian owned, left and headed to Turkey at the outbreak of the war. The name has been changed to Polestar, and also apparently the flag state has also changed. Now he is a Maltese citizen, and yet he's changed the flag state of his vessel from Malta to Cayman Islands. Now that's very unusual for someone to change the name of a boat unless the boat is sold, right? So very often, well, in some cases, when an owner has a boat that's called, let's say, Polaris, like he had another boat called Polaris, a 48 metre, and when he got the new Polaris, he changed the name of the old one to Polaris 1. And the reason most likely is because they were both on a Maltese flag, and you can't register two vessels with the same name in the same flag state. So he changed the name of the first vessel, right? That's the only other reason why you would change your name usually. But this vessel's changed names, changed flags to Cayman Islands, and now has come back into Europe and has gone to Viareggio in Italy. Now a Russian-owned vessel going to Italy, especially as you've seen in my recent video that just came out last night, that, you know, Italians are seizing or arresting vessels from Russian owners. So he must be pretty confident that his vessel is not going to be getting into any trouble while it's there in Viareggio, right? Now, it's possible that the vessel has changed hands, but it's very unlikely. I can't find any records of that vessel being for sale or being sold at any point. Now, what it might be interesting to find out if the registry has actually changed, if the name has been changed. Now, it's possible that the vessel's been passed from one company into a trust or something like that, and that's the way they feel safe. I don't know. That's just my guess. But the fact is that there's been no sale of that vessel as far as I know. So it's quite interesting that the vessel has changed names, changed flag state, and now it's back in the EU. So I'll keep looking into that one, and I'll get back to you with updates. All right, so on to the next story, and this one is a big one, potentially. Now, Starlink has just launched their maritime version of the Starlink internet system. Now, for people who don't know anything about what Starlink is, this is the Elon Musk's system where he's putting thousands and thousands of satellites in low Earth orbit around the planet, and he's going to offer internet to everybody eventually, and he's hoping to monopolize the internet around the world. Now, the plan is to have 40,000 satellites by the time he's finished. I'm not sure how many he has right now. I believe it's around 1,200, but he's putting like 50 up every few weeks. So it's very hard to keep track of the numbers. Now, the service that they've just launched, now up until now, the service that they had was fixed in place. It was geo-locked in place. So if you had a dish, you could put it on your roof of your house and you could get internet, but you couldn't move it. If you moved it to the next street, it didn't work. Now, that was because they didn't have an FCC license to have mobile versions of their internet. Now, when the war broke out in Ukraine, they were able to unlock to help the people of Ukraine who were using the system, and that's why it's not been geo-locked in recent times. But they just got, you saw in the last video, they just got approval from the FCC to have it mobile, and now they've launched two versions. The RV version, which is a recreational vehicle, so it's an antenna for an RV, and they've launched the maritime version, which is potentially going to, well, it is going to change the industry in the future. Now, the reason why it's not going to do that right now is because the system is still in the very early days, hasn't quite got to where it's going to be. Now, I'm going to make a full video about this because there's a lot of information in this, but I'll try and keep it as simple as possible. So at the moment, I'll put the map up on the screen. This is a map of the areas that are covered by Starlink currently, and you can see the light blue color. The colors are a little bit confusing. I think that's deliberate, but the light blue is where they have coverage, and the rest of it, they don't have coverage. I think it's just to add a little bit of confusion there. But what they've got there is the Mediterranean, and they've got the Caribbean, and then they've got around the coast of the US and some in South America and stuff. Now, the reason why they don't have full coverage is because there's a problem with the satellites in space. They need to be able to talk to each other to be able to send data across oceans. And currently that is still a problem that they're trying to resolve. So at the moment, each satellite has to talk to a station on the ground. So as it flies around the planet, it communicates with different stations, and that's how it sends information to ships. It goes up to the satellite sends it down to a land-earth station. Now, when the system is fully operational, the satellites will be able to talk to each other. So they'll be able to send data across oceans. So then they'll have a bigger coverage, right? It'll also have much more satellites in space. And so we'll have complete coverage eventually, but it doesn't have that right now. But anyway, they've launched a system. It's a $10,000 upfront fee for the 2 antennas that they're recommending that you have. They're saying that the maritime systems need to have 2 antennas for rough weather, etc., and they're going to work in tandem. It's $10,000 up front with $5,000 a month. Now that sounds really expensive, and it is expensive, but on a super yacht, it's not actually that expensive, and especially when you find out what you get for your $5,000 a month. Now, traditionally, when you fit a traditional VSAT antenna system on a yacht, you have 2 antennas, and they cost about 100 grand for the 2 antennas, right? Depending on the size and the type that you get. For a current system, you will pay about $15,000 a month for 10 megabit per second system. Elon Musk's system is eventually 380 megabits per second. So that's versus 10 megabits per second with the traditional VSAT, right? And that is a massive, massive difference. Now, the RV system is a $500 upfront and $135 a month, which is a much more attainable cost, right, for RV users. But there are some yachts using the RV system on their yachts currently, and they're getting around 100 megabits per second, which is excellent. Like I said, there's limited coverage, but it's very exciting for the industry. This is something that I've worked with for the last 20 years. It will transform the way people use the internet at sea when it's fully up and running. But if anyone who knows Elon Musk knows that he tends to do this thing where he publicizes something. He asks for an upfront payment, like that. If you think about the Roadster, the Cybertruck, and then people put down a deposit, and he makes a massive amount of money without actually delivering anything, right? So there's going to be a big waiting list for this, and yeah, it's going to be interesting anyway. But it is going to revolutionize internet at sea, which is a massive deal for all of the people that work at sea as well, because usually they get the smallest amount of bandwidth to communicate with people back home. But it is very interesting anyway. I'll keep you updated. It's going to be changing fast, the way Elon Musk is, but I will keep you updated with that. I'm also going to make some videos that are just on this subject. I have a video already. If you're interested in this subject, I have a video which I made last year, which explains how yachts communicate in general, and how the Elon Musk system, the Starlink system is going to work, and all that. It's very in-depth. I'll put links in all the normal places. Okay, just a couple of more things before I go. In the last video, we talked about Jeff Bezos with the vessel being stuck, not being able to get under this bridge. And I said about the fact that the yacht is in one location and the masts are in another location. They're both upriver from this bridge. But one of my subscribers sent me some photographs of the masts. Remember I said they were in a car park outside the facility there. One of my subscribers sent some photographs, so I'll just put those up on the screen to show you the size of these massive masts. So yeah, that's quite interesting. One other thing, be sure to go and check out my video that came out last night. It's called Ghost Boat, What Happened to the Crew. It's a very interesting video. It's filmed in Imperia, and it's the first of a series of, I think there's 3 videos coming from Imperia, and this is this is the most intense one, and it's a very different sort of vibe to the video, just based on the way when I got on the ground there and the way things were going, it just sort of turned into the video that you see. Thanks for all the great feedback I've had from it so far. It was a really interesting video. It took me a very long time to edit that video. But anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'll wrap it up here. I've gone on far too long tonight. Be sure to like this video and subscribe and hit the bell for future notifications. If you've got any information about any of the stories here or any other stories, please get in touch. All the normal ways, through the About page of YouTube. You can get me through Instagram, Facebook Messenger, and you can also get me now on Threema, and I'll put a barcode on the screen here that you can scan to get me on Threema. If you want to get in touch with me anonymously and you haven't already got a Threema account, you can sign up completely anonymously, no phone call, no email address. All right, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.